Okay, so we're in page Resh Tzadik Ches in the bottom of Resh Tzadik Ches. But before we go, I want to point out two things. Number one, in the in the previous Maimon on page Resh Tzadik Ches, Resh Tzadik Hey, we said Asher Maskel Dol Prince Yisoid. So there was a question asked was question what's Ashach's Dol to Yisoid. So then he suggested Gli. It says like a Gli is Yisoid, but I put in the WhatsApp. I found in based on Kabbalah the pasuk Osher lo yabe v'dal lo yamit. So it says Osher is Tiferes and Dal is Yisoid, and it says in Kabbalah something interesting. The Yisoid is Yosei Me'imai because being ad hoidis pashtus. So Yisoid is considered Dal. He's poor because he doesn't get the Amshach of Bina. Stam, I just want to close the. It was an open issue in the previous time.
Nice. Yeah, we need Danny here because he brought it up.
And I put it up on the WhatsApp. That's one thing. The other thing is, yes, at the beginning of this Maimer, we started the Maharsha. It says, "Ayin Machadush Agarat Maharsha." So what's interesting is that the Lashon of our Maimer is it says in Mami's Bizman Shabbos Hamikdash Kayim Mizbeach Machap Al Yisol V'Achshav Shulchan Shalom Machap Olav. So the Lashon of the Sh'ar Shaila is Tchila Machap Al Yisol Aval Mei V'Achshav Shulchan Machap Al Aleim. Ma'in Shulchan Shel Odom Machap Olav. So Maharsha, the only thing is Maharsha also writes similar diuk. So I don't know why it's interesting. Usually it's not common that he has to bring a raya from Maharsha by this deal. Maharsha is medayik. When Maharsha goes in the whole people of Maharsha is in different direction. All right, so finish that part. Let's go back. The bottom of page Reish Tzadik Ches. So we're in the middle of discussing that Indian the it's in the middle, still the process of discussing the he started the Maimah, it's called Anika B'Shmi, Ashmi is Atzilus. Atzilus, the function of Atzilus to be the Memutza, the Mamshech Ein Sof in Biyah. So he said that Atzilus is really in Ein Sof Shalish Atzilus, there's also Eir HaShayach La'atzma, Eir HaShayach La'elamis. So that these two Madrigas in the area are also in Atzilus. So he said that in Atzilus itself, in other words, the two Madrigas in Atzilus is Ershal Lifnei Aloy Saratzin, Ershal Achar Aloy Saratzin. La'atzma Ershal Tzarech HaElamis. These are the few ways we describe it. Just similar, Atzilus also says, first he said Moichin Amidas, but then in Moichin Gufe Chochma. Chochma is the expression of the Madrega of Oyer Shel Ha'atzma, and Bina is Moshaf to Zuzulus. So now the last thing we were in the middle of like a more complicated discussion. You heard the Chayr Akim and say the Chochma is a Giluf Oyer Shel Ha'atzma, which is Seviv Kalal mean Chochma is a Pnimi, so it's part of a Malak Kalal. So that's in the middle of that discussion. So it's a long sentence in the Falcon Cup. So he says, where are we going to start? Shor Masras HaMegal, second HaMegal. V'agam dechach mipchines pnimi v'yodalat v'sheresh p'nes sevkal min shkol sevkal ma'acher beis malegas and ala sheresh p'nes sevkal ma'al mishavet sevkal net simtzum. So the Chayr Abad, we say that Chachma is the Megillah sevkal min. Chachma is pnimi. Pnimi is mamal. Pnimi means an internalized oil, which is shufir hakeb. Kol makom, the answer is no. Yodim is a p'nes latzmi. In other words, the Madrega of Chochma is Megala the Eir Shel Ha'atzma. Mizesha ni Yedim Masim, v'tas Eir Madrega Shel Ha'atzma, Masig Magishim, and the Seila the Eir Shel Ha'atzma, v'gab Eir Shel Azulas. The Akal P'nes Pnimi. אבל הרי אנו משיג ומרגיש מבחינת סער של העצמי ואיך שונה לו יסם, וזה אני יודעים שגם בארץ סוף יש מבחינת סער של העצמי, ואילו שבזה גם בעיר השייך לו אילמס. Okay, so he says like this. I think, if I understand correctly what it says here, that in Meichin Gufa, there's difference in Chochma and Bina. Chochma is like we said, Oyer Shalom Ma'ala Mikaim. Chochma is la'atzmai. Like Chassidus always explains, this in Chochma and Bina. Bina means that it developed and explained and specified. That's Bina. Chochma is pure spark of invention, spark of the lightning. So that's an Urshela Atzmai. In other words, it's something that cannot be expressed. So Mele says, Chochma is part of Eir Pnimi, but within Eir Pnimi Gufa, since Chochma is that level in Eir Pnimi, which is La'atzmai, so from that we can get, that expresses the real Urshela Atzmai, the way it is above Gila, in the market. So let's really get inside. מסשון יהידים משיגים לסעיר והדגש של עצמם, משיגים מרגיש לסעיר הדרך של עצמם, גבר של הזולס, within the Eir Pnimi Gufa, the fact that we understand the mila of the Eir של עצמם, which is Chochma, וגם Eir של הזולס, which is Bina, תעקל לפני Eir Pnimi, both of them are תעקל Eir Pnimi, אבל הרי אנחנו משיגים מרגיש לסעיר של עצמם, וישנה הרבה יסר, מזהו נהידים שגם באיר אינסוף יש לסעיר של עצמם, ואילו שבאיר הזול גם באיר שייך לאילמס. So to Chochma we get a glimpse to understand, to grasp the Madriga of Urshel Atzma in L'mayla Merlos. Or be'emes, then there's another explanation is be'Chochma shiur and so on. The truth is, just said that Chochma is Pnimi, but the truth is that Chochma is the Ein Sof is shiur, is dwells in Chochma, the save of the save of Chochma. The image of the Pnimi is shiur be'en of the Stark it true that Chochma is part of a Pnimi, but Chochma is such a high Madriga in Pnimi that the save, the Makiv dwells there. Which of course, we could tell, but never Kacher. It's bought in a few Maimorim in this Sefer also. It's always saying that the Kacher, that Chochma is the save of shiur there. Sometimes it quotes the Tanya Perek, hey, the Torah and Saf is shiur b'chitz Chochma. Sometimes it quotes the Torah. Im Neima. That's number one. Then he says something even. Then he goes a step higher. Then he says even higher. Im Neima sha'Chochma b'galaf nes'atim d'Eir Pnimi arizay l'mayla b'chitz Eir Pnimi. Really, since Chochma is Eir Pnimi, and the Atzma is the Eir Pnimi, says that part of Eir Pnimi, which is the highest level, the essential, but Mele, it really reaches even higher than the same. It takes us to new. Now it takes us to new place. We also learned maybe in the previous memoir that in Makiv Gufa there's two madrigas. But he's going to go on further talking about it. But first I want to bring what we learned earlier, that there's madriga of Makiv Kasher. Everything is equal. That's how the clippers get the chayes. But then there's a higher level in Makiv, which is the Yaakov, the Pnimi, which is above which is higher than the Makiv. That's what he says. Okay, do the shiur Pnimi l'mayla b'chitz Eir Pnimi. The ultimate shiur of the Eir Pnimi, of the Eir Mislavish Ba'olam is even higher than the Eir Makiv. The Beis Madriga shebeKeser b'chinas atik ve'arhe atik shiur Pnimi, which goes in Makamach. So really, the Pnimi, the shiur of the Pnimi is an atik. Says chitzonius hakeser arer, that's the makiv, but the shiur of the pnimi is an atik, which is above arer. We do the chochma be'etzem ch'nestainuk, which goes to Makamacher. Then it brings another way to explain it. We learned in where was it? In Aleph, I think. There was a very strong expression. The Rebbe Shab says it, and it's taken, I think, that Chochma is really tiny. Chochma and tiny is the same thing. It says in other words, there was a very strong language there. I mean, the understanding is it's like something abstract. The Tainug means, what is Tainug? The way Chassidus describes Tainug, obviously, not the Tainug that the day-to-day Tainug we experience. Tainug of Chassidus is the deepest connection we have with something. It's like the ultimate delight, the ultimate level of connection, of is from another perspective. What triggers everything that happens now? Like Chassidus talks about Ratzon and Tainug. So Tainug is above Ratzon. He's going to say in a minute. Why? Because the ultimate what triggers everything that we do, the inner Tainug, the inner Geschmack that we derive from anything. So that's the first. That drives the Ratzon, because you know, because you feel a certain delight and Geschmack. A few words you can use for it. That is the ultimate, deepest connector to is let's say the nefesh.
The motivator.
What?
The motivator.
Motivator. Right, the ultimate good. Thank you. The
But we
ultimate
once learned that
motivator.
the Tainus Chalam and Shabbos and all that stuff, because the Ratzon could control it somehow.
Okay, that's the Maimon Samachov. He has the question. From that we see that the Ratzon is above the Tainug. Okay, so that's he answered. I think I don't remember the answer to Samachov. He has the question. Tainus Chalam is a right that Ratzon controls Tainug, but okay, I don't remember the answer to Samachov and that. But the mindset, the ultimate, the simple answer is that it means that the fact that you can have a Tainug of Tainus Chalam, what triggers the Ratzon again? What triggers the Ratzon to have the Tainus Chalam? That's a deeper level in Tainug. So in the end of the day, the Tainug is the first, like you call it, motivator, trigger. The first step outside of the nefesh is called Tainug. In the Koyches HaNefesh, in the Milots, that's Atik. So now what he's saying here is that the source. So in other words, in the Koyches Atzmim, you have Tainug and Ratzon. So the source of the Koyches Makifim is Ratzon. The source of the Koyches Pnimim means something that's internalized. That is Tainug. So let's see what he says here. Based on the של כאשר Atik שורש הפנימי, כמו שכזה מרחב. ידוע the Chochma בעצם נכנס Tainug. Okay, that's why I was in the middle of saying Chochma. It says like the first expression that we feel. I don't even know the word "feel" applies here. First expression of this Tainug in the Koyches Pnimim, that's Chochma. Chochma is the purest way we relate to anything. So that's why Chochma with Tainug is the same thing. Like I said, the Chassidus says, I think it's taken from the Magid, that the Tainug, that Atik and Ar is Tainug and Ratzon. Alkein Chochma Megala P'nus Atzmi. All right, so this is the latest step in this discussion that we started on page H Sadik Dalet. Page H Sadik Dalet, he started saying, Kol Anika B'Shmei is Atzilus. That Atzilus, the function is described by Arichas, the function of Atzilus is to, like a Shmi, just like the name of the person. That is what brings the person closer to that. That's what shows the person's to the Zulas. He's being called by his name. If someone wants to relate to him, he calls him by his name. So the same thing, Atzilus is the name that brings out that is Mamsha, the highest Madrigas, Lifnat, obviously called Atzmas Amaitzil, into Biyah. And that you got the whole arichas, and the last part we just finished. We described the chochma, the madrig of chochma, which is the first book of Atzilus, is the expression of tainuk. וזהו, ועל כן, זהו כל הנקרא בשמי, שמיילה מהאצילוס, so that's the עניין. עכשיו, זה כל הנקרא בשמי, שזה מבחינת האצילוס, של השמוי של האינסוף, that is why the words כל הנקרא בשמי, in that pasuk, כל הנקרא בשמי, הוא לכבוד דברס ותרתי והסיסיב, the word כל הנקרא בשמי, talks about אצילוס, שהוא מבחינת שמוי של האינסוף, like we got earlier from the Pardes, that Atzilus is the name. What does the name mean? Shmi, Shmi, it's Diuk Shmi. My name Shmegal, Shmanam Atzilus. Yesh b'ze beis madrigas. What madrigas Shmanam Atzilus? Atzilus Megala. We just finished saying the two madrigas of Ershel Atzman and Ershel Tzayich, which in Atzilus is that it's said before it's Meichen and Midas, or it's Chochma and Bina. So Atzilus is the ultimate expression of the Ein Sof Atzmus HaMaitzil, in the Ein Sof Shrifnei HaTzimtzum, both Madrigas Ein Sof Shrifnei HaTzimtzum, the Ershel HaAtzmi and the Ershel Shaykh LaElmus. Then what does it say the pasuk further? V'lichvoidi barasi. The next pasuk says v'lichvoidi. What is lichvoidi? Lichvoidi p'chinas malchus. The ikar inyan ha-melucha inyan ha-koved. The word covered is Maramas and Malchus. Why? Because the ikar, the essence of Melucha, of kingship, is really covered. The honor, the glory of the king. That's really the key. The key value, modern value. The essence of kingship is honor. Brings a raya from halacha. The ikar in halacha is not covered. A melech shmachal koed ain't koed mocha. A melech cannot forgive his honor. Why? Because he's a melech. He cannot undo what you are. It's not your control. That's who you are. You cannot undo who you are. So that's a raya that it says the void is mama's a malchus. He doesn't explain here exactly why malchus, because there is malchus makalabiyah. Because first there is Kol HaNikra B'Shmi. HaNikra B'Shmi is Atzilus. In Atzilus Gufa, there's Spheres HaMalchus, which is Lichvoidi. So Lichvoidi, that is the next step, the Amshach of Atzilus in Biyah. Malchus, like we explained in other places, Malchus is like Lamadibu, is the communication of the high madrigas of Atzilus into the lower levels. B'osiv Olam Abriya, first step in the Olam is Biyah, Marum is in the word B'osiv Yitzarti V'Asisiv, so he goes into describing each of these words. So number one, B'osiv he says, Olam Abriya is Chachus Hayesh. The Olam Abriya is the first, first creation, Bria of a separate being, yes, separate being, outside of the realm of godliness. So in other places, it says that the Bria Yitzira Asiya is connected, is compared to the three levushim. The Alter Rebbe talks about in Tanya, Machshavet, Dibur, and Maise. So he's going to describe why Bria, the understanding, what's the function and concept of Bria, we will understand from the Mashal of Levusha Machshavet. What is Machshavet? He says, K'maisha b'machshava yischachas and a hergesh oisis from his metzius. In our levusha machshava, in our thought, that is where the oisis are invented. Hergesh oisis from his metzius. You feel the oisis, the word. Agam she'oisis and mekadmus haseichel. The source of the oisis is kadmus haseichel. Kadmus haseichel means in the higher level of seichel. Not only that, v'shorshim etzem nefesh, and the ultimate root and source of the oisius is even higher than kadmos haseichel. It's etzem nefesh, it's the essence of the soul. Because we get a kodesh siman hey, and in the Gas HaKodesh siman hey, he describes the concept of oisius. The mash, ha'maitzos, maitzin, oisius. In fact, the five, I don't know the English word for maitzos. The five parts of the mouth that produce the five types of letters. There's hey maitzos apeh. The fact that maitzos ain't the shitchilas is avusna about maitzos. Doesn't mean that the maitzos create the letters. It brings the eye over there that animals also have all the parts of the mouth that create words. Animals also have them, but the animals cannot speak. There's Isis Hashinayim, Isis Haloshon, Isis Hachech, Isis Fasayim. So the five Maitzos Apeses. So the Maitzos Apes, they do not create the Isis. And that's Meduik and Sefer Yitzir. Because of Sefer Yitzir, Kov on Bepeh. The Maitzos, the Eibishter Kov on, he established them in the mouth. Rak Kov on Bepeh. He established them in the mouth. Etzem Shoshim Bekadmus Seichel, Etzem HaSeichel. That's my nefesh. So the ultimate source of Oisius is in Kadmus HaSeichel, means in the whole, the highest Madrig in Seichel, and even higher than that, that's my nefesh. So that's a question. Why do we say that Oisius are created in Machshava? Oisius exists in Etzem HaNefesh. So the answer is in the Shom Ein Oisius Mitzias Mugashkal. The way the Oisius exists in Kadmos HaSeichel, that's my nefesh, they're not Metzius Muger, they're not a tangible type of being. Even in Koyach HaChochma, which is already a step below Kadmos HaSeichel, so the person, the Koyach HaChochma, when he comes up with this spark, this lightning of an idea in the level of Chochma, Ein Oisius Nikorim. In that level of Chachma, it's not something we can grasp because there's no Oisius. But Kosher can be Kadmos HaSeichel Etzem HaNefesh. Especially, how much more so in the Kadmos HaSeichel, which is Hayam Adeg in the Chachma, Etzem HaNefesh. So the Oisius, the way they are Kadmos HaSeichel and Etzem HaNefesh, even the Chachma, they're not something we feel. We don't feel the koyach hamaskil. We don't feel that we have a koyach hamaskil. We just know the fact that we can use our intellect to analyze. So it tells us from that we know that there's really a deeper place in the nefesh. It's called koyach hamaskil, which is the source of it, but we don't feel it. Surely we cannot feel the assets of our soul because there's no oisius. Oisius are the vehicles, the modes that express something, like words. Mashenk in the etzem nefesh ain't sham oisius. If and that's how Koyach is the same thing as Kadmos HaSeichel. If this to Madrigas would have had Oisius b'Metzius, margishim es Koyach HaMaskil, margishim es HaNefesh. Elo sheshama Oisius b'Metzius. So Mela, what he's saying is that the fact that we don't feel the Koyach HaMaskil, we don't feel the Koyach HaNefesh, is because in these two high Madrigas, the Oisius, which are the ways, the modes of expression, they don't exist there. They're not they're only in a state of potential. That's why we don't feel it. But MS, then he goes deeper into it. What is the real reason that we don't feel the Oisius that are in the Etzem HaNefesh? Every neshama is God's oira atzmi. The nefesh l'mayla mikoyches. So he takes a step higher. So what is the real reason that the Oisius and the Etzem HaNefesh are not b'chinas metzius? So first he said they're not there yet because they're in a state of potential. But then he says another way of understanding it, that they're attacked there because there's a atzmi, so the atzmi overpowers them, like shaga betira, because there's the atzmi is shines so strong in etzem nefesh. So even if the oasis are there, they're overwhelmed, overpowered by the earth. But it says eich she'iyeh, but that's not so negay. We got into this discussion, but it's not negay. Eich she'iyeh. No matter how we're going to explain the fact that we don't feel the oasis of etzem nefesh, either it's because they're still not full existence, or it's because of their action. They're not in the state of Metzius. Whether it's because they lack the Metzius or because they're overwhelmed by the earth. This entire discussion is just bring us to this point to show that the Schachas Metzius when is the concept of Isis invented and expressed the first time is only in the level of Machshava. What does Machshava mean? Machshava means that when we understand, where the intellect is not just in the state of Chochmah, but in the state of understanding. So this is the mashal of machshava. So what is machshava? Where he describes it, machshava is a level where the first time the oisias of the nefesh are in a way that we can relate to them, we can grasp them, So this is the mashal of Eilam Abriya. From Moiken Abriya, similarly, the concept of Eilam Abriya is chachas hametzius the nivoy. The invention of the metzius of separate beings, of separate creations. Again, just like in Machshava, he says, "Lo yischachas guv ve'etzem adover." It's not doesn't mean the guv ve'etzem adover. Sheikol nivoim etzem metzius ma'amiti u'aruchnis shalem. Eine komeshem beruchnis. It's confusing. You see, let's read what it said in the end of the Frotzi Eagle. That's the point he's saying. But mainly, said it's not mamish, just like he said the machshava. The oisias taka exists earlier in the etzem nefesh and in kadmos haseichel. But when is the first time we feel them is machshava? He says similar in Elam Abriya. Anything that's in Elam Abriya already exists in a higher sphere, in a spiritual sense, in Atzilus. But in Bria is the first time they're being felt. So the Hagam in Chotzi Eagle, it says a very important, interesting point. There's a famous question. Why is it in the Torah, when the Torah talks about schar, all the schar the Torah talks about is only Gashim is the schar. You're going to get Parnasse, you're going to get Banachayim Azayna, all Gashim. What about all the Ruchnis and Chazal, and especially Kabbalah explains all the high Ruchnis the Madrigas that we reach to our Avodas Hashem. Like as we learned earlier, Tzadikim, Yeshua, Nanim Ziva Shchina, and all the other Ruchnis. For Akam, the Torah never speaks about Ruchnis Yehudim, only about Gashmis. That's the question the Shalom asks, and he answers a very important answer. So he answers, the real answer is whatever it says in Torah, when it's like שזהו עצם מציאוסם באמת, רק שלמדת בו בעניין הגשם כרגע. So that's so the Shalom answers, you know what? The truth is, when Torah says when Satik Ishmechem Beitam, it doesn't really mean, it really means some high madrege ruchnis. Now, but the way it's expressed in our low world, it's a rain. But that's his answer. His answer is that really all the Yudim Gashma the Torah talks about, it's really Yudim Ruchnim. So that's the answer to the question. The question is, why doesn't Torah talk about Ruchnim? The answer is, all the Gashma Torah talks about is really Ruchnim. There's an interesting Chazal. It says that in Beneget Eliyahu Nov, it says Oiro. Say Chazal that Oiro really means Kshamim. Oiro means light. What's the chance that Oiro to rain? So Chassidus, Chassidus explains that in the ultimate source, in the Olam Ruchnim, in the highest spiritual worlds, this is really Oiro. It's a high level of Gilui Likus, but the way it's expressed in the Olam Hagashmi, it's Yehidas Kshamim. So this is the same concept that the Shalosh says, that really all the Yudim Gashmim is really Yudim Ruchnim. The Mele, all this in the Geya, when they get to us, Kol Mash Nimtza B'Biyah, Aka Nimtza Kol B'Atzilus. Whatever exists in Biyah, in our Biyah, interesting. He talks Biyah here. It's similar, like physical world. I'm not sure it's a physical mamish. In other words, in the lower world is really that source exists in a higher level, in Ruchnis. Mele, so that's the Emshach of our Mosh. So Mele is similar to Machshava. The Oisius, the Machshava really exists in a higher level in Atzilus. But in Machshava, when is the first time we feel it, when is the first time it's tangible, it's Nelam Abriya. That's what he says here. Interesting. What Agashmi here is a little not sure. Let's call it Agashmi. Okay. Okay, so he already goes, that's he finished the Salas in Bria. So again, so Bria is Machshava. Now the next word in the Pasuk Kolanika B'Shmi.
I think R'Dovid, the Gashmir compared to Asilu that we were talking about yesterday. So that's the first level that something is becoming a little more outside of the complete Ruchni.
I forgot. What did we talk yesterday? Remind me. Where was it?
No, it was about Asilut. Or about Asilut. Now it's talking about Beria. So that's why it's saying Gashmi in comparison.
Okay. All right. Relative. Yeah. Okay. Good. Veitzartiv, or Elam Haitzira, shows is Galas Lavad Me'elam Abriya. Veitzartiv, the next step in Pasuk is V'asi Veitzartiv Asisi. Tzartiv is the Elam Haitzira, shows is Galas Lavad Me'elam Abriya. So the Yachas of Hitzira to Briya is really Galas Lavad. You know, the ultimate, the first jump, the first leap from Atzilus into Briya. That's like they create something new. It's chachas. In Olam Atzilus, everything is a likus. Now in Olam Abriya, suddenly you have yesh. But the transfer, the transfer is the right word. The move from Atzilus and from Briya and Yitzir is not so radical. It's only this galus. What is the marshal? Like I mentioned earlier. So the Briya Yitzir is like machshava dibur ma'aser. So Dibur b'yachas to Machshava, he says it only is galus. Kamoya Dibur Machshava shein zeh ischatshus. When a person speaks something that he thinks, nothing in a way, nothing new was really invented here. He already thought about it. Kamoya Dibur Machshava shein zeh ischatshus. Yes, it's Machshava. Shabbos when it's mitzias yisa. The way it is in Dibur, it's expressed in a strong, in a more tangible way. I don't know what I mean by this. I mean, it repeats the same point. The difference is first it says Aesius and then it says Indian. Now the words and the content, maybe that's the difference. The content that he thought about, she's Galas Ben El. So the Yitzira is the Izgal, is the expression, the revelation, or whatever I was in the So what's Yitzira? Briya is Yitzira, Briya is Chayshach, and Yitzira is Oyer. The Briya of Yitzira in a Chaymer and Tzura. The difference Briya Yitzira is compared to Chaymer and Tzura. Briya is like Chaymer, the matter, and Tzura is the form. Shachaymer nois as Tzura. The matter holds the form, but Tzura is Galas Lavad. You take a piece of was the Chassidus brings the marshal, the piece of silver, which is the matter, and turn it into a cup. So whatever it's not, it didn't create anything new. It's the same. The matter stayed what it was, but it only got a shape. The shape is not nothing new was really invented. And I mean not I'm gonna say nothing new. There is something new. There is something new, but it's not yesh me'ayin. Okay, it's not yesh me'ayin. Took something that's there and you gave it a shape. In other words, when you give the silver the shape of a cup, so that piece of silver had already potentially that shape, the ability to be turned into a cup. You just rebuilt it.
I have a question. The machshava is bria,
Yeah,
like a keneged. And what's yitzira?
that's what we're talking about right now.
No,
That's
I
deep.
understand, but dibur I thought is malchus.
It's two different. Okay, now it's two different mashalim. Okay.
So yitzira would be dibur.
Exactly. That's what I just said.
In this scheme.
Bria
Okay.
Yitzira Asiya is
Asiya is
mashalim.
I got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now you're pointing out an important point, but within the spheres, Malchus is Dibu. Malchus Peh, like we say in Pasach Eliyahu. Malchus is Dibu because biyachas to the sphere, but it's a different haluk. Now we're talking the elements within the. It's just Malchus is also Machshava. Sometimes Malchus is all three of them. It's Machshava, Dibu, and Mais. Malchus can be all three. Like it says, Leah and Rachel. Leah is Machshava, Leah is Malchus, and then Rachel is Dibu. It's also Malchus. So again, maybe we can describe the difference. It's in two different schemes. In B'yachas to spheres, Malchus is the going out, but the going out itself is three levels: Machshava, Dibur, and Ma'aseh. And most of the time, it's Dibur. But now we're talking within the elements, where the elements are created, already not in the spheres. With the three elements of Pri Yitzira Siyah represent the three levels. The way actually you can say the way Malchus is expressed, the way Malchus expresses itself in these three stages of Machshava, Dibur, and Ma'aseh. It's not mamash a stir. Okay, now it says V'ema Afa Sisif. So the lowest level. We finish with Yitzira now. Afa Sisif V'ema Ma'asiyah. The third part of the pasuk, Afa Sisif, that talks about Elam Asiyah. V'ema Afa Sisif, he adds the word Af. The pasuk adds the word Af. If Sika Inim. Af shows separation. That when if Sika means we finish one thing and also something else. I made it, I did this, and also. So means ifsik, the word and af shows that you finished before. What does it teach us? The richo ka'erech asir gabi yitzir yosem ericha yitzir gabi bri. The distance, the distance between asir and yitzir is further than the distance between yitzir and bri. Asir shenas nifad legamre. But the concept of Maise action is way more separate than Dibu. When we speak, it's also something that separates separates from us. Because like we know, you can never take your words back. You say something, that's it. The word is out there. But it's nifad. It came out. In ein sich nasse nifad legama, shnira k'may nifad. So he's going to go into an interesting way of describe the difference between Dibur and Maise. Why Maise is more nifad than Dibur. Here he brings a certain marshal the way he describes it. Let's see the way he does it here. So that's an interesting example. When we speak, when we say a word, so the person who listens cannot take the actual words that we spoke. he can take the content that he heard, or the words as something that's still it's still us, it's still what we said. It
Today
cannot.
we have recording.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. It's like I said, all this mashalim, we want to bring out a point. So recording, if you want to go into recording, sometimes it says in Gemara, Akimas fos ava mais. Sometimes Dibo is considered mais. So there is a certain aspect of Dibo that's similar to mais. And in our modern and technological world, we are able to recording. We turn Dibo into it's there's certain waves that happen when you speak. We can record the waves and take it away. You're right. That's that aspect of Dibo. But like again, all this mashalim, the idea. It's the idea. We want to bring out the concept. Essentially, when you speak to someone, when you speak to him, it's not talking to the recording. You speak to him, so he, with his own capacity as a human being, cannot take the words that he gave him and go away with them, because the words stay connected to you. Mashenken, let's see the contrast. Mashenken, when you act, so the other person can take the result of your action and go away without you being there. For example, when an artisan makes a kli, so the koyach hasir, anybody who makes, let's say, a carpenter makes a chair, so the carpenter's koyach talent is invested in the chair, and now brings the famous marshal. The famous expression says of Siddur always that the Magid was able to see on the chair, on any keilah that was made by a artisan who was blind in one eye. What does it show? That the personality of the artisan is expressed in his actions. At the same time, as a nasa nifad mimenu legama, must nifdu mimenu nitwas ozelos. He's using this type of way to describe the difference between mice and dibu. Just like you asked the question about dibu, that in our days and age we can tape what he said. But mice also you can what does mice mean? If I walk, it's also mice, but it's not, it doesn't affect. So again, we're using a certain aspect of dibu and mice to describe to decide the concept. It doesn't mean that every aspect of the muscle fits exactly. Generally speaking, dibum, I think an easier way to say it, when someone speaks, so you know who the speaker is, right? But when the person does something and he's going away, whatever he produced with his action is there without any connection to him. So in other words, the separation is more in action than in speech. Speech is something you got to, like, again, like I said with the tape. Today's day and age, you can speak and somebody can write down what he spoke, and it's separate from you. But okay, it doesn't fit in that way. But the general difference between Dibbo and Maise is that Dibbo means that whoever speaks is present in the speech. When you look at the speech, it's the speaker is there. It's not separated from him. Action is something that he can separate himself, like the woman. He can write a book also, and then you're gone. In other words, you can look at the result of the action separate from the actor. That's the key point here. Nifad. Nasa nifad men lagame most nifad men nitwas lozelos. Can be taken away, totally taken away from you. It's not true that the Maggid was able to see what type of person made this kli. But the average person, which shows that the Kli has the essence of the woman in there, but the average person doesn't see, he just sees a Kli. He doesn't even know who made it. He doesn't know. He has no clue who made it. In speech, generally speaking, again, not without all the technology. Generally speaking, the person speaks. Again, without microphones, without computers, without everything. And the normal way of speech is that there's somebody out there and you hear him speaking, so you see at the speech as him. He's not separated. So in that way we can understand how mice is more nifa than dib. So the ninshal is the asir plus pil. The ilam asir, Rabbi Yochanan, speak about the ilam asoliyanim. The ilam asir is similar to mice, koyach mice, which means there's a separation from the source, separation from a lekus. But kayodua, the asir ubayra, u'ur matoif, v'shoma. It's a spirit shem nifrodim elikus. Wow, that's quite a statement. That the ilam asir says in Kabbalah, it says in Yitzchayim, ubayra. Not only that, as the rise more in a way that that's a spheres and nifrodim elikus. It's spheres, but then yeah.
Isn't Rubo Ra relates to Yesira?
Asir, we're up to Asir.
No, so Yesira is what? Yesira is
Asir is max
no? And Beria, Rubo.
Yes, Rubo Toiv. That's what it says in Kabbalah.
Yeah, and Asilut is Kuloto.
Yeah, Asilut is Kuloto.
So I thought Asiya is because we don't see any other clues, so that's Rubo, and not more than Rubo.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, okay. You're talking about Asiya Gashmis. Okay, that we can understand, but sounds what I was surprised was he's talking about Asiya Ruchnis. That's a spheres. In Asiya Ruchnis, Asiya Ruchnis is not Asiya Gashmis. Even Asiya Ruchnis also Rubo Rav has was Nifrodim Elikus. The concept of Nifrod, period. Okay. That's Marumas in the fact that the Hey Kava Gimel Nifod Ifnei Atzma. The Rebbe spoke a lot about this concept. The letter Hey, it's interesting. It says Hey Achreina, as if the Hey Rishon. It's not like that. But so it's in other places. Talks explains what it means in the Hey Rishon. But here it's talking about the Hey Achreina, which is Malchus. Like I just said before, Malchus creates the three elements. And the three elements are marumas in the three lines in the letter Hey. So the top line and the right line are connected. That's Bria and Yitzir. But the left line, he says, Kava Gimel Nifod Ifnei Atzma. Unlike the Ches. In the Ches, the Kava Gimel, the left line, is also connected to the top. But in the Hey, it's separated. The base Kavin and Bria Yitzir Mechubori. So the remez in the Hey is that base Kavin, the top and right line are connected. That's Bria Yitzir. Kava Gimel, Bria and Nifod. So the separation in the letter is the remes. The remes, the is separate. That's what I say. Afasis. Bifrat now he says what you say. Bifrat, especially not stam Elamasi. Elamasi means Elamasi Gashmi. Almed the Shika Vashem but Goyrimba. Okay. So we finished discussing the pasuk Kol Anika B'Shmi B'Lechvei B'Osei Tzarti B'Fasis. Let me see. Go back 1 second. What did he say? He started talking about Nitzos. See, he started in the bottom of Yish Tzadikach. In the Ksiv Kol Anika B'Shmi B'Lechvei B'Osei Tzarti B'Fasis. So we explained quite barichus that pasuk Kol Anika B'Shmi B'Lechvei B'Osei Tzarti. So Kol Anika B'Shmi is Atzilus, Lechvei is Malchus. Bosti is Bria, Yitzarti is Yitzir, Afasis is Asir, Elam is Matach. Now he goes the next step. Umikol Makoi, despite what we said, Ikra Kavono, Elam Matach. What is the ultimate purpose? Like the Alter says in Tanya Perik Lamed Vov, the ultimate purpose is the Elam Azatach. The
What about Hey Rishayno?
What?
Hey Rishono.
I said already that in Hey Achroines Maramis of the three elements via Hey Rishono is a the remez is a different type of remez. It's in a more subtle way. I don't remember now. I'll look it up. I don't remember now exactly how he explained in the Hey Rishono the two kavim and the kavanifut, because in a much subtler way. The Erishain is Bina. Bina is like Seichel creates midas. In the midas have also three levels. You know, there's the Chagas, Na'i, and Malchus. So, in other words, the same similar concept is also explained in the Erishain also. But here in our discussion, because we're talking about Lichvoide, which is Malchus, is the Achreina. So that here it describes how there's three levels. The first two are connected, and the third one, the Asir is separate. When you get the Erishain, I think that's the answer. That Bina is the Erishain. It's the source of Zon Malchus, of the spheres of Malchus, and the spheres of Malchus also broken into three. There's Chagas, Chesed Gvot Tiferes. I think is like the top. And Nehi is the right, and Malchus is left, which is also Nifot, because relative to the Midas, Malchus is separate, like we learned in a lot of places. Malchus is Bavdola. We learned it also in this safe also. That Malchus, that's a different discussion. He doesn't talk about it here. He said
So the Chagas and the
Chagas and Nehi. What?
and Nehi, they are the two kavim, and the Malchus is the kav shlishi, and Nitfod.
Yeah. Okay, I think so. I mean,
But it's Bina. It's
I'm
Bina.
saying Bina is the source. Just like Malchus is the source of Bia, Bina is the source of Zohar Malchus, right? Same concept. But okay, I'll look it up more. That's true. All right. So now he says, that's the new discussion. After we described how the entire system is the entire system, says the ultimate purpose is the Olam Hazatach. All right, continue tomorrow.
R'Dovid.
Yes.